Okay, so now it's the high time to start. We have jam-packed two sessions back to back, and after those two sessions, we'll have a quiz session for all our participants. The quiz will be shared over here online, as well as we'll get the link of this quiz via your WhatsApp also. So we have our guest with us today. We are fortunate enough to have Mr. Manoj Sarkar, who is a founder director of Development Professional. He is having over 23 years of direct working experience with different NGOs across the country, and he have a substantial part of his career where he have devoted his entire time on working in the areas of education, child protection, when women, adolescent. He have been working in association with childhood care and education-based development Department of Women and Child Development, Government of West Bengal. So with this, I hand over the entire forum to Manoj sir. Sir, all yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Shudeepa ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. And this is certainly, I think it would be a good interactive session with all those who are taking part in this session. And this is an session where we can discuss about what are the possibilities of taking forward the agenda of women empowerment. And certainly, I look forward to have good interaction with all those participants. Should we go for an brief introduction, because there are only 24 participants at the moment? Can you have a small round of introduction, or should I start with my presentation? What do you suggest, ma'am?
Sir, I believe you can directly go with the presentation because,
okay.
Sir, we have a limited amount of time and
I know.
back-to-back sessions.
So,
in the meanwhile,
okay.
Participants, while speaking, they can definitely talk about themselves, sir.
Certainly.
Thank you,
so, thank you so much. I'll just start sharing my screen, and then followed by this thing, I will go about. Is it visible to all of you? Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. Thank you once again to all the participants. This is the session that I'm going to talk about is basically on entrepreneurship development, and self-help group is the force through which it can be developed. And I'd like to focus on certain issues which are the forcing things that actually accelerate the process of entrepreneurship development. But before I start with my presentation, I will certainly take help from Rabindranath Tagore, where during 1920-22, Rabindranath Tagore had taken up the initiative of going to the villages, both in Bangladesh and also in Shantiniketan. There's an area called Sriniketan. There are some noises coming up. Okay, so there's a location called Sriniketan, close to Shantiniketan, where Tagore had gone to the villages to find out the situation of how people are living in these days in the community, and what are the problems they're facing. And the outcome of his findings, he himself had gone for a social mapping for the communities. And what he found that there are issues related to education, training, healthcare, sanitation, modern and scientific agricultural production, and people lack in their knowledges. And there was no collective effort from the people to get into the production or their knowledge enhancement for their collective effort to go beyond their traditional way of doing things or earning sources. Thus, he felt the need of helping people so that people can help themselves. And that is the first line that I have quoted here, is to help people to help themselves. And what he felt is that village people will be able to help each other in their cooperative living, and they can be able to prepare themselves for the groundwork, building the nation as an independent country. This was his thought before independence. And his model of rural reconstruction is one of the torch bearers in so many projects of independent India. And his principles associated with this program are still relevant in the present day world. So now I'd like to focus on what do we understand about empowerment. Particularly, I would focus more on women empowerment, since there's a notion across the country that self-help groups are mostly associated with the women group. So empowerment is basically a multidimensional process. It is not limited to particular one focus. It has the multidimensional approach, starting from their knowledge enhancement to awareness generation, then skill building, then use of technology in their efficiency building, and then facilitate those groups into actual overall development of the society. And if you see, the self-help groups are basically the engine in taking forward this effective collective effort in developing the entrepreneurship model, and followed by empowerment of a woman. And also it helps in their social and economic development of the groups, as well as it contribute in the nation building process as well. So because if you see in the country, there are about 48% women in the country. So that is a big number. And if we focus more on women empowerment, that would certainly help in the nation building process. So thus, what I have worked with and have been working with is developing a social entrepreneurship through in a sustainable development model, because it's not only empowers women, but it also helps in creating economic growth of those women groups, and it provides innovative solutions to mobilize the different resources that are available within the communities or in their neighboring areas, which they can use for their sustainable development. So thus, we can, say that social entrepreneurship is a process of involving innovative opportunities to address social needs and subsequent changes. So the social entrepreneurship thus drive in not only uh, economic empowerment, but also helps us in social innovations, because it creates opportunities to think beyond the barriers, to bring about new ideas and create new things, and transforming in the various fields, including education, health, environment, entrepreneurship development. So this is how it can help in poverty alleviations, and particularly business development. And there are traditional ways of business development, but entrepreneurship is one of the key areas through which innovative ideas can be built in, and people can go beyond the barriers and bring in innovative ways of business, breaking the traditional practices. And most of you may be aware about that self-help groups are basically formed in an informal way, where people come together for some common issues or common problems that they want to resolve. And they can focus, and self-help groups might imply on the individual issues, but one important characteristics of self-help group is that the idea of mutual support and helping each other. So it's a collective of few people who think of a mutual issues or helping each other in a collective way. So thus, if we see that there are about 10 to 20 members in each of the SHGs across the country, and usually women are from similar social economic backgrounds, and voluntarily they come together for some savings, some business development on a regular basis, and followed by their income generation, because empowerment is the issue where self-help groups basically acts as an accelerated model for these women to go beyond their present situation, and helping them overcome the barriers of social and economic challenges that they face regularly in their families. So in India, the origin of SHG, what I told, Rabindranath Tagore had started, but in terms of post-independence area, SEGs was started by the Self-Employed Women's Association SEWA in 1972. And if we see, there are examples during 1954, there was Textile Labor Association of Ahmedabad formed its women wing in order to train the women belonging to families of mill workers in skills such as sewing, knitting, etc., so that those women can help in the production process as well. And you may be aware about NABARD, the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. So in 1992, the bank came forward in developing SIG bank linkage projects, which is to now a world's biggest micro finance project. And this is still continuing. And from the next year onwards, NABARD also, along with Reserve Bank of India, opened the avenue for the SHGs to access banks facilities and opening their saving banks accounts in different banks. Then in 1999, there came the Swarna Jayanti Gram Sarojgar Yojana, SGSY, which was introduced by Government of India with the intention of promoting self-employment in rural areas through formation and skilling of such groups. This evolved, the process continued for several years, and in 2011, the entire process were reviewed, and furthermore, then the National Rural Livelihood Mission, now it's the National Livelihood Mission. This mission was started during 2011. And before the NRLM, the National Rural Livelihood Mission, came into being, the program of the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, which was basically targeting the families from the poorest of the poor communities for creating assets and self-employment. And it was, many of you may be aware about the IRDP program, the Integrated Rural Development Program, which was started during 1980. And during 1999, this SGSY program was started, where IRDP program was transformed into the SGSY program. And self-employment through organizing poor into self-help groups become the cornerstone of SGSY. So SGSY basically focused on stressing or capacitating the self-help groups for their income generation, for their entrepreneurship development and all. A systematic review was taken up from SGSY before this brought into focus, that there are certain shortcomings, like as India is a vast country and it has regional variations in mobilization of rural poor, and there are insufficient capacity building of the community-based institutions, because those things were not planned into this scheme, or even it was planned, that was not executed at that point of time. And insufficient investment for building these institutions, because resources are not allocated in the budgets for building up women's institutions across the villages. So these were some of the drawbacks which did not allow SGSY to continue. And looking into the drawbacks, the National Rural Livelihood Mission was framed during this period of time in 2011. Now, if we see how there are certain characteristics of entrepreneurship, is basically it's creating a business or businesses while building and scaling it to generate a profit. So entrepreneurship is basically creating opportunities for an individual or a group of individuals in the business development, which actually leads them to gain some profit and divide it among themselves, and subsequently also building, encouraging them to expand their business in the next phase of their initiative. So the modern entrepreneurship definition, if we go through it, also about transforming the world by solving big problems, like bringing about social change or creating an innovative product that challenges the status quo of how we live our lives on a daily basis. So generally what we understand that entrepreneurship is basically doing a small business of my own or a group of people. But there are examples across the globe that social entrepreneurship is not only limited to doing small businesses, but it has larger social impact. If we see Microsoft, if we see the other international companies, the Apple and all those. So they have started with some entrepreneurship development. Now they have become a global leaders in their own areas of business. So it is not limited only to small businesses. Social entrepreneurship can bring about social changes and bring about life changes across our daily life situation. So, what the entrepreneurship the definition doesn't tell us about that entrepreneurship is what people do to take their career and dreams into their hands and lead it in the direction they want. But it's about building a life on your own with terms of like it is an independent led or a group led process where you do not need to answer to your boss. Basically what happens when you are into a job, you are liable to respond to, or you are liable to report back to your higher authorities. Here, once you are into entrepreneurship, you are not liable to get back to your boss or not reporting to any of others. Similarly, you have no restrictions of working schedules. You can modify your schedules, you can design your schedules according to your time availability of resources and all. And there the last one point is very important, like nobody is going to hold you back. Yes, do not do this, do not do this. Every time in your office, many a times you are asked not to do this, not to do this, but here you have the opportunity to use your own thoughts, use the resources according to your own choice. So that is the advantages of having an entrepreneurship in place. So being an entrepreneurship myself also, I enjoy these three points, that I don't need to reply back to any of my bosses. I'm not restricted to my schedules. Rather, I plan out the schedules and work accordingly. And I am open to any ideas. I'm open to do things in my own way. So these are the advantages of having an entrepreneurship in place. So entrepreneurs thus has the opportunity to take the first step into making the world a better place for everyone in it, and including themselves as well. So entrepreneurial ventures are considered the most important factor that would lay the organization in economically struggling third world developing country. Third world developing country means our India is third world developing country. These entrepreneurial ventures help both urban and rural population through creation of employment opportunity, and also rescuing them from unemployment and poverty, and helping them creating impact upon developing skills, self-esteem, and self-sufficiency. So basically it is an scope. It is a scope for an individual or group of individuals to gain knowledge and develop their skills and bring about changes in their way of working, bring about changes in their way of business, and building, and that helps them in building their self-esteem and also the resources that they gain through their business. That is self-sufficiency, having resources not in terms of money, but there are resources which are created. I mean, the assets that they create out of their entrepreneurship, that is also included here. So uh, now I'll focus on most on women as entrepreneurs. Basically, in India, what we see that women are restricted from different activities. They are restricted from their social and economical way of going beyond their families. They are not allowed to talk to. They are not. They are basically suppressed in decision making process and other things. Gender discrimination is very much prevalent still today in Indian all across rural and urban situations. So freedom depends on economic situation more than political. So if a woman is not economically independent and self-earning, she would not be able to have should have dependency on her husband or someone else. And dependents are never free. So if they need to depend still on their husband, they need to ask for every penny from their husband. They are not free. Every step they need to take a decision, and they need to wait for the decision of their husband or the person who is taking care of him or her. Then they, if they are allowed, then they can use that thing, or otherwise they are not allowed to do so. So women-owned business are appropriately increasing in the economics of almost all countries, just because to give an opportunity, to give a scope for the woman to come out of all those barriers and help them earn their dignity, earn money, and place them in a socially empowered situation. What happened? Now, self-help groups basically are proved successful for the empowerment of rural women, mostly in India, because there are self-help groups across India, and most self-help groups are based into rural areas of India. And the rural women, in the way of their entrepreneurship development, which had put a major impact on their social and economic life, which I told earlier, that entrepreneurship not only helps them in developing business, but it gives an impact in their social and economic life of the woman. So thus entrepreneurship is considered as the only way out for the economic growth of rural women. So many of you have must have seen that self-help groups are encouraged across the country by government, by NGOs, by other trusts and other agencies to come out of their social barriers and uh, start their own way of looking at lives, start their own way of doing businesses. So it helps to create employment opportunities to a number of people inside their own social structure. So they can stay back in their own community, within their own family, and they can earn a better life situation with dignity. So it's not about SAGs are not about just create substantial resources and enhance living status of the woman, but it has helped in changing a lot in the social viewpoint and exercises. Like their thoughts, their way of looking at things, their viewpoints on certain social issues and their daily life situations are now being considered because they have become collective. So collective effort has a bigger impact on the social and cultural situation of our daily life. So entrepreneurship development and various income generating activities are a possible way out for the empowerment of women, which further leads her to have economic independence, to put control over their lives, and self-determination and self-reliance. Uh, No, microfinance is a widely promoted development initiative to provide poor women with affordable financial service to help them come out of the clutches of poverty. So self-help groups are initially promoted with microfinance programs. So one of the most popular model in South Asia is the self-help group model that India adopted in 2011 as part of a federal poverty alleviation program, including upskilling of rural women. So the government of India took up SHG as an poverty alleviation program model and upskilling the rural women in their knowledge, their practice, their savings attitude and all. So India's SHG's movement has evolved from small savings and credit groups. Microfinance is basically small savings and credit groups sought to empower poor women that they can earn some money and they can invest into some of their household business, their household requirements. And this is one of the largest institutional platforms to improve the well-being of the poor households. In today's India, there are more than 67 million Indian women are members of over 6 million self-help groups. So you can imagine the number of women who are into these self-help groups. And these women groups are not only into self-help groups as for microfinances, now they are into developing their own business, they're developing their own entrepreneurship for their social and economic development. So taking women at the center of development, it has been an important story in India and South Asia. Many women associated with these self-help groups, they produce several items like jute bags, masks. Masks are nowadays very important, and several women groups are producing this. I have seen women producing spices in Maharashtra, and there are women groups, they are also producing several other items in West Bengal. There are several women groups producing daily household items, spices, and other daily needs. So that is creating opportunities for them to sustain and earn a better living. So what I understand, like woman must be empowered by enhancing their awareness. Like many a times it has been seen, and still today, women are not aware about their rights, their entitlements, the opportunities that are available, because many a times in rural India, women are not allowed to study into school. They're not allowed to go to school, so they are not aware about different facts. They are not allowed to take part into panchayat meetings. They are not allowed to take part in family decision making processes. So thus women empowerment is most important part of creating their awareness, knowledge building, and also facilitate them to get into technology use, because now technology is very much important in our lives. After the COVID situation, everybody is accustomed with use of technology. So technology plays an important role in in our day-to-day life. So thus helping them to understand the technological issues also, and they were facilitating the overall development of the society. So it is thus helping us to understand the self-help group is one of the helpful instrument for the woman empowerment, and it is as an organization for rural poor, particularly for the women. They can take entrepreneurship activities beyond microcredit and all. So entrepreneurship development and income generating activities are a feasible solution. So these are doable solutions for the empowerment of women. It generates income and also provides flexible working hours to the women, because they need to take care of their household chores also. So after they complete the household chores, they have time, so they can do it of into their own choice of times, and that is a flexible time that they have at their home. Hello. Hello. Economic independence is the need of the hour. So participation in income generating activities helps in the overall empowerment of women. Um, Now I would like to invite Shoma. Are you there? Shoma?
Yes, yes.
I have with me I'd like to introduce with you a lady who is a member of an self-help group, and this self-help group has been developed with the women who are basically survivors of human trafficking. There are noises coming up.
हाँ अभी ठीक है.
Yes, yes.
असल में एक प्रोग्राम चल रहा है तो ठीक है.
Okay, so these women are basically survivors of human trafficking. Once they have come back, it is about 1.5 years now that these women have started with their self-help groups, and now they have started their own businesses and trying to get back to normal life as part of their rehabilitation, because this is a very challenging situation for these women who were actually trafficked, because once they come back after rescue, there are a lot of trauma, there are a lot of social discrimination, for them to get back to normal life. So in that case, I work with this. There are 3-4 such groups. I work with them as part of facilitating them to bring in changes through entrepreneurship development. So I have Shoma with me. Shoma, I think Sufia is also there.
हाँ
Sufia,
सुफिया है
सुफिया तुम बताओ कि तुम लोगों ने कैसे ये काम शुरू किया था और कैसे इसको आगे बढ़ाया तुम लोगों ने?
ठीक है। हेलो एवरीवन, मैं शुपिया और मैं एक ट्रैफिकिंग सर्वाइवर हूँ और हम लोगों का वेस्ट बंगाल का 175 सर्वाइवर है। हम लोग को गाड़ा सेजी ग्रुप है। तो हम लोग का पहले हमारा जो वेस्ट बंगाल का जो रिहेबिलिटेशन पॉलिसी है वो काम नहीं करती है। हम लोग का बहुत प्रॉब्लम होती है जब हम लोग वापस आते हैं। हम लोग का जो रिहेबिलिटेशन जो पॉलिसी हम लोग को जो अधिकार है तो हम लोग सही से नहीं देते हैं ड्यूटी बैट्स और हम लोगों का जब वापस आते बहुत स्टिग्माटाइज होती है। बहुत हम लोग का सर्विस देना चाहिए, मेडिकल सर्विस और जो रिहेबिलिटेशन का जो नीड है वो बिजनेस करना, फिर उसको घर, उसको मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट सब कुछ हम लोगों का प्रयोजन है। तो हम लोग नहीं मिलते हमारा हमको। तो हम लोग सोचा जो हम लोग का एक सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप होना चाहिए। तो हम लोगों का बिजनेस करेगा तो अच्छा होगा। हम लोग शनिवार हो सकती हूँ। तो हम लोग 2019 में अक्टूबर को हम लोग सेविंग्स शुरू किया है सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप का, एसएचजी का। और 2020 में हम लोग बैंक अकाउंट खुला और हम लोग सेविंग्स करते करते हम लोग का जो पंचायत का जो मेंबर्स है हम लोग को जो सपोर्ट करती है उसको पास हम थोड़ा अमाउंट में हमको लोन दिया था 20,000। तो हम लोग वो लेके इंडिविजुअल बिजनेस कर रही हूँ। हम लोग एसएचजी का ग्रुप में हम लोग अभी 5 जन सर्वाइवर है और वो दूसरा पंचायत है, एक ब्लॉक है, दूसरा पंचायत है। तो हम लोग इंडिविजुअल अभी बिजनेस कर रही हूँ। जैसे कि हम लोग का जो स्टेज होती है तो हम लोग कापड़ कीनते हैं वो बड़ो बाजार से। फिर हम लोग डिजाइन करती है उसके ऊपर डिजाइन करके हम लोग स्टेज बनाती हो और स्टेज बना के हम लोग रेडी करके फिर हम लोग बाजार में बेचती हो। तो ये हम लोग का बिजनेस बहुत अच्छा चल रही है। और हम लोग का जो पहले जो हम लोग का स्टिग्माटाइज होती थी और तो हम लोग का कोई क्या बोलते हैं ग्रुप तो नहीं देते। तो अभी जो एसएचजी का जो सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप का जो लोन मिला है हम लोग का जो प्रोसेस चल रही है अभी जो बिजनेस करके हम लोग का बहुत अच्छा कमाई कर रही है। और यही हम लोग आशा करती हूँ जब हम लोग का और भी लोन मिलेगा तो और भी बिजनेस हम लोग बढ़ाएगा। और हम लोग से स्वनिर्भर जो होती है वो हम खुद पैरों में हम लोग बिजनेस करके हम लोग पैसा कमाएगा और बहुत आगे हम लोग बढ़ेगा। ये हमारा सोच
हाँ
है।
ये हाँ
Thank you.
हाँ
Thank
तो
you
मैं
हाँ,
हाँ मैं सुफिया के साथ एज ए सोशल वर्कर मैं सुफिया के साथ और एक और थोड़ा बात ऐड करना चाहूंगी। वो ये जो बात है एसएचजी ग्रुप का हमारा यहाँ बारासात में तो 2019 को हुआ था, पर होल नॉर्थ 24 परगना में हम लोग ये स्टार्ट किया था 2018 का जनवरी महीना से। तो अभी 10 मतलब 11 एसएचजी ग्रुप होल नॉर्थ 24 परगना में है सर्वाइवर को लेकर। ये एक दूसरा इनिशिएटिव है हम लोगों के लिए, क्योंकि एसएचजी ऐसे होता है कि किसी कम्युनिटी में कुछ महिला को लेकर एसएचजी फॉर्म होता है। पर यहाँ पर जो सिस्टम चेंज हुआ है वो ये है कि सर्वाइवर ग्रुप को लेकर ही एसएचजी ग्रुप फॉर्म हुआ है। यहाँ पर
new initiative. This is a kind
Yes.
of new initiative and probably first time in India that in North 24 Parganas this initiative was taken up with the help of the local panchayat and local district administration, that they have formed 3 such self-help groups, and they're promoting actually entrepreneurship with these self-help group members who are basically survivors of human trafficking. There's a unique group because in general what you see, women from the local communities or the rural areas, they take part into self-help groups, but there's a
No.
unique combination of women who were socially segregated, socially discriminated, and abused, exploited. Once they have come back, their families have some restrictions, and they have some limitations. They do not accept the return of their daughter or their wife, and many a times it happens that the community has a rejection for all these women. So in this,
अभी
thank you, Shoma and Sophia, for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now I'd just like to add on to what I tried to mention here, that if we see that entrepreneurship development is possible, if you have a positive thought in mind, you can always take forward the agenda. And this is a live example what I try to present before you, and you could understand how these women who were not accepted in any forms, now they have come out of all those barriers and trying to build up their own business and trying to live a life with self dignity. Now I'll just proceed with the next few slides that I have. You can see some of the, I'll just share some of the major schemes and programs of Government of India, which are available. I have given here the link for the to access the details of the schemes. I have given a just brief about the schemes, which is like Mahila Samriddhi Yojana, which is basically a microfinance scheme for women. And now the National Livelihood Mission is now known as the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, which was basically stated that as of 2019, around 6 crore women have been mobilized into like around 54 lakhs self-help groups. So this is how these 2 schemes are there. You can get into their websites and know the details of the schemes that are available. There are NABARD sponsor scheme, NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, that is there. They are supporting training and capacity building for self-help group and bank linkage programs. They have programs for skill development, on entrepreneurship development, micro entrepreneurship development, and they have livelihood and entrepreneurship development programs, the LEDP. So this is how NABARD is also has come forward and working together with Government of India and Reserve Bank of India in taking forward the agenda. And the schemes for women for in the backward and these areas of LWE districts, the left wing extremism districts of India, that is specifically for those areas which were started from March, April 2020, 2012. And there's a close collaboration between NABARD and National Livelihood Mission for extending this program and taking forward the agenda of women entrepreneurship and self-help group promotion. And there are several other schemes. I'll not get into all these details because you can all get the details through their websites, which are, and these schemes are also available in the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment website as well. All these schemes, Atal Incubation Centers, New Generation IEDC, which is Department of Science and Technology, and there are marketing development assistance, the startups, micros and small and medium entrepreneurship programs. There are women entrepreneurship platforms from Niti Aayog. So there are several schemes available for entrepreneurship development, and those who are trying to build up entrepreneurship, they can start talking with the local administration to know about these schemes, because these are basically implemented through the local administration so they can get in touch with the local administration and link the groups to access the facilities of such schemes. Then Sarojgar credit cards are there, raw material assistance schemes are there, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana is there. So there are several schemes are available from government of India. So now coming to the last part of my sharing is like social enterprises cover a whole range of social, voluntary and community services, activities and initiatives, and it can include provisions of training, advice and support to individuals and organizations, and self-help groups for community actions and trading. So it's not only business, but there are certain social issues these self-help groups can take forward apart from their business development. So self-help groups should not be seen on an isolation, but they should be seen in a very wider aspect, that they have a social role to play in bringing about social changes in their respective communities, like prevention of child marriage, addressing issues of domestic violence. So there are several issues like that. So they can take part in community sensitization as well beyond their business development. So social entrepreneurs may be involved in enterprise development, trading activities, but finance is a means to an end. And in the area of development of rural women, the focus must be laid on developing women through increasing their economic power, social power, what I told just now, that social power means their knowledge building, their participation, their decision-making levels has to be increased in terms of their, in the process of the, now there's a GPDP process, the Gram Panchayat Development Program process is there, where woman has a bigger role to play, because they know the certain issues which male members are not able to highlight, or male members do not allow them to highlight. So women should be allowed to take part in this kind of decision making and participatory approach processes. So entrepreneurship could be the way through which self-help groups can come forward in developing the business and take part in the social change process. So this can be achieved to a large extent through the formulation of self-help groups, and it should be promoted to create social development. So thank you so much for patience hearing, and I'd like to thank you, Professor Shaptoshi Chatterjee and Professor Shrudipa Chakraborty ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. And now I would expect some of your questions if you have anything in mind.
Dear
Hello.
faculty members, if anyone is having any question regarding this self-help group and working in line with entrepreneurship development, so you may please ask your question. So in the meanwhile, our faculty members ask some question. Sir, I have my one question to be asked to you.
Yes.
Sir, what are the legal obligations in working with a self-help group? Because since you are talking about human trafficking, since you are talking about certain very sensitive issues. So if as a faculty member of a college, if I want to start up a self-help group, on the other side also, so what will be the legal obligations that I have to abide by?
Okay, so you can always start a self-help group with a group of women, and there is a provision with the panchayat and also with the BDO for registration of those groups. So the group has to be registered as per the SHG norms. There's a norms of the government of West Bengal and different other state government as well. So they have to be registered first. And for that process, that after registration, they need to go through a training. So you can always lead a process of taking forward a self-help groups. You can create a self-help group and help them go by with the norms, and they should be trained first on the purpose. And there are certain procedures, because there has to be some meetings, there has to be registered, they have to maintain, and there has to be a proper activity plan. Then they have to open up bank accounts. So these are the legal procedures that they have to follow. And once they follow all these things, then they would be liable to access loans from different banks and government schemes and programs. So anybody can start with an SHG and take forward the agenda. So there's no harm in, and the government of India and all other state governments, basically they are encouraging women to come up. And there are several individuals and NGOs and civil society bodies, they are helping women to come up and do something in a collective way. So legal procedures are there, but that is not very stringent that you cannot do that.
Thank you, sir, for your patient
Thank you.
answer.
Thank you.
Any other questions from any faculty members?
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your informative talk. I am Dr. Kakuli Bhadra from University of Kalyani.
Okay.
Since we stay, our university is mainly in the rural area. So in the Nodia, belongs to district Nodia. So
Right.
can you suggest any name of any NGO groups who are working in that area with the women regarding women entrepreneurship?
I can always help you out in connecting with the NGOs in Nadia, but at this moment I don't have the name in with
Okay,
me.
okay.
You can take my number from Sudeepa ma'am, and
Okay.
you can contact me in person. Then I can help you out.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you
And
so much.
also I would suggest that you can contact with there's a cell ISGPP, you know, Institutional Strengthening of Gram Panchayat Programs, which is under
IS, can you just repeat it, sir?
ISGPP, Institutional Strengthening of Gram Panchayat Programs.
Okay.
Okay. So you can contact with the local block development officer and also with the panchayats. They have a list of all NGOs and those list of SHGs also. So they can help you out in giving all the details. Where are they based? What are the activities they're taking up? So you can also get the detailed information from there also. But certainly I will help you out in connecting with some of the NGOs who are working in Nadia districts. So you can take help from that also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'll request Kakuli ma'am to get in touch with me. I'm there in the WhatsApp group. You can ping me personally so that I can share Manoj sir's
Sure, sure. It will be my
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank
Sure.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else has any question?
Sir, may I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Dr. Shuranjana. I am in Shuranjana IT College. I am in faculty graduation college. My question is that you have told in those slides that. Are you listening? Am I audible?
Would you be little louder? Would you be little louder, ma'am? Yes, you are
Yes,
audible, but could you be please little?
Am I audible? Am I audible
Yes,
now?
no. Yes. No. Tell me.
So you have given the aspect of some women for introducing in their after their humanitarian and such aspects. Okay, that's fine. I am asking about.
I think ma'am got disconnected.
Her
Hello?
audio.
Hello?
Yeah. Could you please
Yeah, ma'am,
repeat
you are
once?
audible.
Yes, yes. Hello?
Could you please repeat once more? Yeah.
Yes, you have told some aspects of human trafficking, and that's the point. With this point of view, this is fine. Your aspect is fine, quite acceptable in my society also. But there are some urban women also who actually give up their career during the family matters or something else, and as because they are not able to continue their career or some other reasons, and when they want to again grown up for their economic stability, what are your procedures to initiate with them, and have you taken such any programs for self-helping these types of women?
Particularly in the urban area you're talking about.
exactly,
Yes,
who have
yes.
breaks in career, or
Right.
who have given up their careers due to some,
Okay.
because
So
they were in poverty level where they
I know.
have to have.
I know. Let me tell you, self-help group is not limited only to rural women, but in India, most of the self-help groups are operational across rural area. But there are self-help groups across urban areas also. Different states have the self-help groups in urban areas, and the procedure is same. There is no procedural difference. Only thing that in urban locations, women have less time to spend for this kind of activities. So, and many a times what happens, accessibility in rural areas, if in a village, you can get the woman very easily in a very common place. But in urban locations, these women are scattered. So it's very difficult to bring them for a meeting also, because they are scattered into different locations of the city. So these are some of the challenges, but it is not that it cannot be done. And the
Most of,
procedural aspect is same. One thing that you have to decide who are interested to do that kind of entrepreneurship. If they have a common goal of developing themselves or bringing about a social and financial empowerment for themselves, they can always come together and find out solutions. So there's no harm in it. The process and other legal obligations are same. I think I have clarified your points. Am I right? Hello.
I think
I
there
think
is some
he has
network.
got disconnected.
Yes,
So
yes.
what I would suggest, you can give my number to her if she can. She wants to learn further details. I can help her out. Okay.
Yeah, definitely, sir. I'll share your number with all the aspirants who will
Certainly,
be
certainly,
talking
certainly.
with. Any other questions regarding women's self-help group and how to come up with? Sir, I have another question, sir.
Yes,
To
please.
ask.
Hello.
Like,
Yes, please.
what will be the business model over here? Like, if I talk about a business model, creating a self-help group of the women, what kind of model will be there?
See, self-help groups, primarily people understand self-help groups are for microcredits, but nowadays the concept of self-help groups have changed. When it is not limited only to microcredits. That is one part. Earlier, microcredit was the primary focus. Now, microcredit has become a very secondary part. Now, women are very interested to do innovative way of businesses. Like they want to earn money in a different way. If you see the group that was sharing this time, they were basically interested there, and there's another group also. So they are actually preparing ornaments, basically. So these kind of things they are trying to sell. That is not related to any microfinance or anything. But there are now the group has to decide what kind of business they want to do. It's not that you will suggest. They will have to find out what kind of businesses they want to do, what are the opportunities they have, what are the resources available to them. So they, based on that, they can start the business. You can also only facilitate them to get the knowledges, get the information, they link them with different departments or the government schemes and programs. But the group has to decide, if we command them to start a business of my choice, that would never, ever flourish. That would never ever function. Let the group decide what they want to do and why they want to do. And also, what I always say, so do a business plan. If you want to start an entrepreneurship, do a business plan of what are the possibilities, what are the challenges, what are the resources available. Then accordingly you proceed. Otherwise, you will start, and at one point of time you'll just you have to stop your business, because there's no process, or the no I mean, proceed, you cannot proceed further with this kind of unplanned way of businesses. So you have to have a very positive business plan. And as an individual, if you are trying to promote any self-help groups, you can always facilitate them to think in that way of line. But you cannot suggest them, these are the businesses available, you should do this, you should do this. No, let them decide what they can do themselves. Like this lady who was sharing, she said they are collecting some stitching works from Bara Bazaar, and they are completing those tasks, and again sending it back to the business person and collecting money. So they know the stitching work. So they know they can do only that work. So if I had asked them, you start your food home delivery business, that won't flourish. They won't be able to do that. So now this is the way you have to encourage them to think on their own. What are the possible ways they can start their business?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for patiently answering our questions. I'll definitely
Thank you so
request
much.
all my fellow faculty participants over here, if you have any further query or any questions to be asked personally to Manoj sir, I'll definitely love to share his number with you. So the last question, and we have our next guest with us also. So it is from Anurag sir. Anurag sir, please unmute yourself and ask your question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm from IHMS Kordwar in Uttarakhand.
Uttarakhand, yes. How is your weather there? You have been facing a lot of challenges there.
Right now, good, but few challenges before 2 days.
Okay.
7 of February is a very tragedy with our persons.
I see.
And sir, one of my questions related to rural areas.
Sorry?
ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों के लिए rural areas.
हाँ, बोलिए, हाँ, कहिए.
Sir, which type of government policies for small scale of business in rural villages, for which type of, because of Uttarakhand is a very one thing hill area, so very difficulties for the scale small businesses or big businesses. So how can scale of business?
I would suggest you, आप एक काम कीजिए, यहाँ पे जो नेशनल लाइवलीहुड मिशन का जो वेबसाइट है, ठीक है, आप उसमें जाइए, उसमें देखिए हर क्षेत्र के लिए और हर इलाके के लिए अलग अलग तरीके का प्रोसेस बताया गया है उसमें, ठीक है. और आपके उत्तराखंड क्षेत्र के लिए वहां पे आपका स्टेट लाइवलीहुड मिशन होगा. आप उनसे जानकारी प्राप्त कीजिए कि वहां पे किस तरह के बिजनेस वो लोग प्रमोट कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि हर एक क्षेत्र के लिए अलग अलग प्लान होते हैं. जैसे पहाड़ी क्षेत्रों के लिए कुछ अलग प्लान होते हैं, और जैसे हमारे यहाँ वेस्ट बंगाल के लिए कुछ अलग तरीके का प्लान है, और दूसरा राजस्थान के लिए कुछ अलग तरीके का प्लान है, क्योंकि कुछ कुछ इलाकों में कुछ कुछ रिसोर्सेज जो है अलग तरीके से पाया जाता है, उसी हिसाब से वहाँ का बिजनेस डेवलप होता है. तो उत्तराखंड के लिए कुछ अलग तरीके का प्लान जो आपके स्टेट लाइवलीहुड मिशन जो है, उत्तराखंड स्टेट लाइवलीहुड मिशन जो है, आप उनके साथ जुड़िए, और उनका वेबसाइट भी होगा आपके जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के जो वेबसाइट है, उनसे जाके पता कीजिए कि किस तरह के स्कीम वो लोग प्रमोट कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि हर क्षेत्र की अलग अलग स्कीम है. और उन्हीं से आप प्राप्त कीजिए कि ऐसे चीज जो बनाएंगे आप, किस तरह से उनको बनाएंगे, किस तरह की ट्रेनिंग उनके लिए प्राप्त हो सकते हैं, कैसे उनका बैंक अकाउंट खोला जाएगा. वो आपके जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जो DRDO सेल है, डिस्ट्रिक्ट रूरल डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी का जो सेल है, उसमें जाइए, वो लोग आपको बता देंगे कि किस तरह से आप उस स्कीम के साथ वहाँ के जो ये जो सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स है उनको जोड़ सकते हैं, और वो लोग इसका फायदा उठा सकते हैं.
थैंक यू सो मच.
मेरे ख्याल से अनुराग जी, आपको अगर कुछ और पता करना है तो जैसे सुदीपा जी ने बताया, आप हमसे फोन में बात कर लीजिएगा, हम आपको गाइड करेंगे.
नंबर मैं मैम से ले लूंगा.
बिल्कुल सर. अनुराग सर, I can definitely share the contact number by WhatsApp. You just ping me personally once. I'm there in the group. Take my number and ping me. Thank you, Manoj sir, for such
thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I'd like to thank all the participants for their patience hearing, and also Sudeepa ma'am and Shoptoshi sir for giving me this opportunity, and this is a very good experience for me also, and those who are interested to get in touch with me, they can.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Have a good day.
With my number. Okay, thank you so much. Take care of.
Thank you, sir. Thank you on behalf of the entire team.
Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day.
So with this, let us begin one of the other most exciting sessions with one of our eminent personality. We are already having him with us. Let me take this opportunity rather to welcome Mr. Nixon Joseph, President and COO, SBI Foundation. Today, he'll be talking about the role of bank in entrepreneurship development, because since everything is related to finance, so this is one of the crucial points where sir will be highlighting each and every aspect. A very little brief introduction from our side. Mr. Joseph is the President and Chief Operating Officer at SBI Foundation. He has been very actively involved in a lot of development and community service banking activities. He works very closely with SBI's flagship program, and he's one of the faces behind the success of the CSR initiatives. He has joined SBI as a probationary officer in the year of 1995. A certified credit compliance and information system banker. Let all of us take this opportunity to hear from his experiences and gather knowledge through the entire session. Sir, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm very happy that Adamas University has invited me for this interaction on the role of financial institutions in entrepreneurship development. Before I go into the topic directly, I will just mention to all of you that in SBI Foundation, which is the CSR arm of SBI, we have a program called SBI Youth for India Fellowship. And one of the goals of this fellowship was to develop more social entrepreneurs. So every year, almost 12,000 highly educated youths from all over the world apply for this fellowship, which is a rural fellowship of 13 months. And we shortlist around 700, call them for interaction. And finally, we take around 100 youths as SBI Youth for India Fellows. We have partnered with 10 to 12 NGOs. After our orientation program, the fellows go to the villages. They interact with all the stakeholders there, and they come out with list the pressing issues in that village. And the fellows decide to intervene in one of the issues that they put with a project and make it, pilot it, make it successful, and at the end of 13 months, make it sustainable and live. Out of these 100 fellows, every year, almost 8 to 9 youths start social enterprises. And then after the fellowship also, I have witnessed many of them go back to these locations and continue with these enterprises. They become social entrepreneurs. I should tell here that most of those who join as SBI Youth for India Fellows, many of them, they have their studies in Harvard University, Stanford University, Oxford University, IIMs, IITs, and reputed institutions in India. Plus those who have left the highly paid corporate career, be it Deloitte, Bank of America, TCS, Infosys, doctors, dentists, chartered accountants, many of them who feel that the corporate career is not suited to them. And also they strongly feel that they should give back to society. They join this fellowship, and as I told you, 8 to 10 of them become social entrepreneurs. I have one very good example of one Anant Watts who did M.Tech in mechanical engineering from IIT Chennai. Instead of going for a corporate career, he joined SBI Youth for India Fellowship. He was in Dang's district, Gujarat, which is a tribal district, where he worked with bamboo craftsmen, tribal bamboo craftsmen. And then because of his mechanical engineering background, he devised some small equipment to reduce the drudgery of bamboo craftsmen. And then after 13 months, he went back to the same village location and started a social enterprise, giving livelihood opportunity to 5 to 6 bamboo craftsmen. And now they are making pen, files, all these things out of bamboo. So similarly, there are many stories. There is a girl who was a Supreme Court lawyer. She left that career and she started a bamboo-based jewelry unit in same Dance District, Gujarat, as a fellow. And after fellowship was over, she is now running that unit, which is also gives supplementary income to 5 to 6 tribal women. So why I told this is that entrepreneurship is of very high importance now. Because India is in a situation where it cannot generate more jobs, more government jobs, more stable jobs with the private sector, etc. It is upon educated youths to become entrepreneurs, start enterprises, and give job opportunities to others also. So this is, that's why I shared this example with you, the SBI Youth for India Fellowship. As all of us know, entrepreneur is someone who takes bold decisions to establish an undertaking or enterprise. They are the owners of the business or enterprise who invest, contribute the capital, and bear the risk of uncertainties during the business life. And the personality characteristics of the entrepreneur are quite different from an ordinary person or human being. A few entrepreneurial talents are inborn, but some are acquired. And some training can be acquired, it can be developed with the help of training and development programs, generally organized under entrepreneurship development programs. After observing many of these youths who have become entrepreneurs, I find some of the characteristics, which is one, managerial competence or administrative ability, self-confidence, innovativeness, high degree of commitment, high tolerance, resilience, willing to take risk, high level of energy, leadership, problem-solving attitude, communication ability, resourcefulness. So all these qualities are required to be a good entrepreneur. And the importance of entrepreneurship has magnified in today's economic attitude. Entrepreneurs are often regarded as national assets who are motivated and rewarded to the greatest possible extent, mainly because they contribute in terms of innovation, jobs, and improve the conditions for a prosperous society. And the government of India is also pushing and encouraging youths to start their own business or undertake ventures, startups, etc. And it is here that the role of financial institutions come, because there is no denying that activities of banks reflect the unique role as kickstarter of growth in any economy. Commercial and specialized banks always play an important role in the growth and development of entrepreneurship. Apart from providing financial assistance, banks also give valuable inputs to support and promote the enterprises. There is no gainsaying the fact that activities of banks reflect their unique role as the engine of growth in any economy. Banks have an important role to play in developing entrepreneurship. The different roles, one is statutory role, because the banks have been created in the first place itself as an intermediary, financial intermediary. It is for accepting deposits and giving loans and advances. All of us are aware that if any enterprise or anything with the entrepreneur starts, it requires capital, it requires funds. And it is here that the main important role of banks come. By accepting deposit of customers, especially entrepreneur customers, the banks will be providing security for customers' money and giving them opportunity to use their deposit to borrow more money from the banks to finance the running of their enterprise. Another role which banks play is that of payment tool. By funds transfer, money is moved from one account to another and from one place to another. A good payment system which provides speedy fund transfers is vital for the efficient working of an economy. And with the development of information technology, the speed of service delivery has improved, while the cost of doing business has reduced tremendously. And these digital services have enabled entrepreneurs to make transactions outside their immediate environment without necessarily having to carry cash. The primary reason that banks want deposits is to enable them grant loans and advances from which they earn income. Extension of credit, extension of loans to the economy for the financing of business enterprises is the core link that banks have to the real sector, acting like a catalyst and contributing to the growth of the economy of the country. By financing entrepreneurs' production, consumption, and commercial activities, banks lubricate the process of economic growth with multiplier effect across all sectors of the economy. And what are the various methods by which banks lend money to entrepreneurs? One is overdraft, they call as OD, in medium long-term loans, debt factoring, invoice discounting, asset finance, including commercial mortgages and equity finance. And because of the specialized role of banks, they are in a position to play investment promotion roles to entrepreneurs. Such roles may include management of investment for customers, advice on sustainable lines of investment by analyzing the pros and cons of each investment alternatives to the entrepreneur. So advisory roles, investment promotion roles also banks take. Another role which banks or financial institutions take in the case of entrepreneurship development is advisory, guaranteeing, consultancy roles. In addition to the normal lending and other service, banks now also engage in business advisory, guarantee and other consultancy services, which help immensely in the promotion and financing of entrepreneurship activities in the country. It is a well-known fact that some enterprises fail simply because of mismanagement, faulty investment decisions, inefficient capital, and foul planning. Other areas in which banks could offer advisory and consultancy services to the enterprises include methods of control systems or measures to be adopted by the enterprises. Banks can advise the entrepreneurs on the methods of raising capital, whether the enterprise should go for reorganization, whether how the enterprise can run efficiently. All these or a status inquiry services could be offered to effect credit purchases. If the enterprise is offering sales on credit, opinion about the customers, opinion report on customers can be obtained and provided to the entrepreneurs so that he doesn't give or extend credit to customers with poor credit history. Banks can also perform great role in entrepreneurship development by organizing, sponsoring, and supporting entrepreneurship education and training programs in collaboration with other organizations. But then, though banks can extend all these roles, there are several problems with the entrepreneurs face while they approach the banks for loan or any of the facilities. And some of these I will just touch. Unavailability of proper financial records. Many of the enterprises, the entrepreneurs have ideas, but they may not be good in financial management or accounting. So if they have to avail loans, facilities from the banks, when they approach the bank, it is found that many of these enterprises do not have proper financial records. The financial management is poor. the knowledge of lack of bookkeeping skills. What happens is many of those business units, entrepreneurs expect to obtain bank loans even if they do not have any business records. Another challenge the entrepreneurs face is lack of collateral security, because the entrepreneurs may not be coming from well-off families. They have started this unit because they had some innovative idea. But then banks, when they extend the loan, when it is huge loans, big ticket size, they ask for collateral security, and many of the entrepreneurs are not in a position to provide collateral security. This is because they don't have enough resources. Another challenge with the entrepreneurs face is lack of connections as a result of inability to network. And many cases, the enterprises are not viable. They are not viable business ventures. To the entrepreneur, the enterprise may look promising, but the banks may consider that this project is not viable. And as a result, banks fail to extend loans to such units. And also many of the banks extend to fund or agree to fund any type of such small business with a great degree of caution. So there is a bias that such units are likely to fail. Then another challenge which I have found is the misinterpretation of the business plan. The entrepreneur is not able to explain what is his business plan, or the bank officials are not able to understand what is the business strategy, what is the business plan of the entrepreneur. And some small business operators or entrepreneurs confess that they couldn't interpret the business plans because these were drawn by consultants. And therefore, they are not fully aware of the business plans. This reduces their ability to negotiate for loans with banks. And in some cases, what happens is the entrepreneur may be asking for a loan of 100,000, 1 lakh rupees. The banks may give reduced amount of rupees. So this also, in the long run, if the requirement is 1 lakh and you give only 50,000 rupees, it may affect the working capital of the cycle of the unit and it will fail. In some cases, what happens is if the requirement is only 1 lakh, the entrepreneur may ask for 2 lakhs. That is overstating the amount required. So this also will is not a good financial management. If you get excess money, it's likely to lead to more exposure and enterprises could fail. So these are some of the challenges faced by entrepreneurs when they approach banks for funds. And one of the, if you come to banks side, why banks are not very liberal in extending loans. The thing is, there is a fear that these units may fail, problem of loan default. That is one reason. And as I told you, when the loan goes bad, if you are the unit has provided collateral security, bank can recover the amount from the collateral security. If in case collateral security is not there, banks are hesitant to extend loans. So these are the challenges which banks face while extending loans to entrepreneurs. But we should keep in mind that this SME sector or MSME sector, all these are contributing to 40% of the total GDP and remains a critical source of employment for India's growing population. That is why the government of India has brought several schemes to extend finance to entrepreneurs. Here I will tell all the commercial banks, be it nationalized bank, government bank, private bank, etc. All of them have facilities for extending loans to entrepreneurs. It is extended in the form of either fund-based or non-fund-based. Fund-based facilities which are being extended are term loans. Suppose an entrepreneur wants to acquire machinery. He wants to acquire physical assets, fixed assets, furniture or machinery for starting his enterprise. Banks will extend term loan to the prospective entrepreneur. That will be for a fixed period of 5 years, 7 years, like that, depending on the capability of the borrower to pay and also the requirement. So in that way, we call it term loans. There could be medium-term loans, that is term loans to 3 to 5 years, or long-term loans also. But for running the unit on a daily basis, entrepreneur, the banks extend working capital loan. So term loan is extended for fixed assets, acquiring machinery, etc. Whereas the working capital is extended for getting raw materials, running the unit, payment of salaries. All these working capital is extended. Also, when the entrepreneur sells the goods, many times he has to extend the credit. The amount may come maybe after 3 months, 4 months, etc. So against that also, banks extend loan, the working capital component. Or the borrower, maybe the entrepreneur may be drawing a bill on his customer, and such bills are discounted. That is also one facility which is given. Another facility is, as I told you, the entrepreneur may be extending credit for 5 months, 6 months to the buyer. And against that also, banks give some 60-75% of those book credit also banks give. So these are the ways, and these are fund-based limits. That there is money involved. Because term loan, you have to give money to the supplier. If you procure raw materials, you have to give money to the seller of raw materials. So these are all where money is involved, and we call it a fund-based facilities, which we extend to the entrepreneur. But there are non-fund based also, because as you heard, where immediately fund is not involved, like letter of credit or bank guarantee. Suppose some machine is to be purchased from some company in a unit in Kolkata wants to purchase a machinery from Mumbai. The Mumbai seller doesn't know the Kolkata entrepreneur. So in that case, the banks, Kolkata Entrepreneurs Bank will guarantee to the borrower, to the seller in Mumbai, that I am guaranteeing that this entrepreneur will repay the loan. So banks issue bank guarantee. There is another limit called the letter of credit. The bank will issue a letter to the seller of raw materials, etc. in Mumbai or any other place, that if you are selling the goods to this customer, we will be paying the bills on behalf of the customer. So these are the non-fund based limits which banks extend. So what I want to tell is that if any of you starting an enterprise and all, there are various ways in which commercial banks are extending support to enterprises. It is there. And apart from that, due to the government of India's insistence, pressure, or focus to develop the MSME sector, Government of India has also brought about many schemes which are run through banks. One is the MSME business loan in 59 minutes. This was announced in September 2018. The loans under this scheme are given for financial assistance and encouragement of MSME growth in the country, micro, small enterprises and medium enterprises. Under this scheme, both new and existing business can utilize the scheme for financial assistance up to 1 crore. And it is told that the approval or disapproval is granted within first 59 minutes of the application. So this is MSME business loans in 59 minutes. It is a refinancing scheme wherein 5 authorized public sector banks will grant the funds. Then another very popular credit facility which is being extended is Mudra loans. It is Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency established by the Government of India to provide business finance to micro business units. So Mudra loans are structured as under, there is Shishu loans up to 50,000, Kishore loans up to 5 lakhs, and Tarun loans up to 10 lakhs. And these loans are given to micro, small businesses operating in the manufacturing, trading, and services sector. And there is a credit guarantee fund scheme for micro, small enterprises. Under this scheme, collateral fee credit, that is, the loans are extended without collateral security. It provides working capital loans up to 10 lakhs without any collateral. When no collateral is required if you want to start an enterprise up to 10 lakhs. And about 10 lakhs and up to 1 crore, only primary security. That is, whatever you are buying, that will be the security, or mortgage of land and building associated with the that operation is obtained. And such accounts are covered under the Credit Guarantee Fund. So these are some of the schemes which the government of India has brought to support enterprises. I will stop here because the main aspect which I want to convey to all of you is that one, entrepreneur is taking a risk and he should have sufficient degree of resilience to continue the enterprise. And one thing is, never think that obtaining loan, if you obtain loan, the enterprise will run well. No, that is only one aspect of running an enterprise. Bank finance is one aspect. The entrepreneur is having idea. That is why he started the business. But idea, he's passionate about the idea, that is he has started. But idea alone, passion alone will not be enough to run any enterprise. We require a lot of other skills. Like as I told you, the spirit of resilience, that whatever challenges are there, I should run this enterprise. One. Second, good knowledge of financial management, good knowledge of bookkeeping, good knowledge of communication, because you have to negotiate with sellers, buyers, all these things. So all these qualities are required, and if when you start a business, you may not be having it. So this is where banks, all other organizations, trade associations, everything have to handhold or mentor such entrepreneurs for 1 or 2 years so that they become established. So this is something which all of us have to keep in mind. So many of us will tell why enterprises are not growing in India, because bank loans are not extended. But extending bank loan alone will not be enough. There are a lot of very good ecosystem should be there for entrepreneurs to develop. So that could be one reason why, though the government is also putting a lot of focus, everyone is telling entrepreneurship, social enterprise, everything should be there. The number of youths going for this line is not very, very promising, because there are a lot of hurdles here. It's not like joining a government job and getting salary every month. Here, a lot of risk is involved. And only those who are ready to take risk and face the challenges and go ahead, then they will be able to run the enterprise successfully. And second aspect which I want to make clear to everyone is that there are a lot of institutions in India, nationalized banks, private banks, SIDBI, many other institutes which are providing credit facilities to entrepreneurs. So never think that finance is not available. No, finance is available. A lot of projects, programs the government of India has decided, implemented, it being implemented through public sector banks to promote entrepreneurs. So these two things keep in mind, that one, running an enterprise is quite challenging. Second, banks are, there are various institutions to provide finance to entrepreneurs. But then please keep in mind that I have seen many of the entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, and in spite of the challenges, they go ahead, and finally they have told the satisfaction they get by facing the challenges and seeing that their idea has come into fruition is something we will not be able to explain. The happiness, the satisfaction they get. That is why many people leave their corporate jobs, etc., and start their own enterprises. So here I will stop and I will take questions from you, because otherwise it becomes a monologue. I welcome questions from everyone. Any questions?
I'll request all the participants to come up with questions for sir. So meanwhile, all the participants can come up with question. I'd like to take the opportunity to ask you something from my side. May I, sir?
Okay. Sure, sure. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, in order to approach a bank, like whenever the startup is being set, there are a certain legal documents also. So, sir, is there any list available, like from where they can collate all the documents and they can give forward a rigid documentation in like view of their startup and everything? Like, what about the documentation part, sir?
See, what happens is when you approach a bank, when a startup wants to avail bank finance, they approach the bank gives a list of documents. Along with the application, there will be a list of documents to be submitted by the startup, including the registration details, the license details, tax details, all these things. The bank gives a list of documents to be submitted for along with the application. So all these are available with the bank. See, what is happening is there are challenges on both sides.
Yes, sir.
See, what the entrepreneur decides is he wants money urgently. But when he approaches the bank, he finds he is not able to get it in the way it is, because banks require a lot of documents, lot of things which he is not able to give. And why banks are asking? Because they are also having their own challenges. They are also have been asked, you can give loan only if the unit is producing registration certificate. You can give the loan only if they produce the tax details. You can give loan only if GST details are there. You can give loans if they are having a good credit history. So all these, both sides, there are challenges, and I would tell that these are something like this will be there, but then anyone, entrepreneur or someone who starts this enterprise should be able to go through this, and it's a question of determination that I will go and I will avail, I should get the loan. And I have always felt that if you are able to satisfy the requirements, no bank will deny the loan.
Definitely, sir.
So that thing we have to keep in mind. But if you go and without faulty documents or incomplete documents, it may be difficult to get the loans.
It is actually the same process that the process in which we apply for other loans also. So the same way we have to provide all the documents on the basis of what bank will ask.
Yes, you go for housing loan. Yes.
Yes.
You go for housing loan or car loan. Banks will tell these documents are required. Same way when you apply for these loans also, banks will tell these are the list of documents required. If you submit all these, they will consider. That is the
Sir, one more question I have, like you talked about the SBI Youth for India Fellowship. Sir, what can be the eligibility criteria? Like the current students, can we motivate them to apply for the fellowship, and something a little more elaborative about
See,
it?
the eligibility for SBI Youth for India Fellowship is a graduation.
Okay, sir.
And the age limit should be 21 to 32 years. 21 to 32 years. And the average age of fellows is 24. Generally, I found it is 24. And what we see is the prospective fellows is, one, whether they are passionate to bring change, and whether they are will be able to adjust to a rural environment. So I interact with all the 700 candidates to see whether they can be fellows. And two aspects which I see is this: one, whether they are passionate, strongly passionate to bring change. Second, whether they will adjust to the challenges of the rural area. Because in many of the rural areas, mobile connection may not be there, internet facility may not be there, proper accommodation may not be there, proper toilet facilities may not be there. So whether the youth who is coming from urban background will be able to adjust to the rural area. So these are the two main aspects which I see before we onboard the fellows.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. My dear faculty members, anyone who would like to ask questions, please unmute. I think there's no question till now.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. You really explained
Thank you.
so lucidly to all of us, like how and what are the requirements of bank while we approach the bank with startup idea or something like to develop the entrepreneurship. These are the few basic skills we, all the faculty members, must know while we go for, I'll not use the term training, rather I'll use the term coach the aspirants who are really, enthusiastic about coming up with their own startup. These are very minute things, and this documentation part is something which must be taken care of very minutely. This is one of the skill also. So thank you so much, sir, once again. We were privileged to get your time.
Thank you.
We are
Thank you.
privileged enough to hear from you regarding the aspects of banking sector. Looking forward for another session with you in the upcoming days. Thank you so much, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So with this, participants, we come to the end of a day. We will soon share our quiz via mail and in the WhatsApp group also. Today, the session, the third day, it was a filled jam-packed session with people from different sections of entrepreneurship development. They were there to deliver the lectures. We learned about the personality development, the mindset, what an entrepreneur have to possess in order to come up with a startup. We learned about the self-help groups, how we can motivate the women of the society to build their own empire. And lastly, we learned about the different requirements of the bank. So with this, I sign off for the day. Thank you for your patient hearing. Let us call it a day. Thank you all.